The number one most important thing you have to have in order to achieve your goals is consistency. Everyone talks about it. You always hear it on TikTok, on YouTube. Everyone always talks about how consistency is essential for success. But the problem is that nobody explains how to achieve being consistent. How do we actually become consistent? And that is exactly what I'm going to explain for you in this video. The first thing that you have to understand is, why do you want to be consistent? Reason is because consistency builds progress, consistency builds trust, and consistency builds discipline. You could almost say that consistency builds your life. If you want to become better at running, you have to be consistent with your training. If you want to eat clean, you have to be consistent to see results. If you want to start a YouTube channel or maybe start a TikTok channel, you have to be consistent so that you can actually give yourself a chance. And let's get right into the first thing that you can do to actually build consistency. Psychology says that you have to find a deep, deep meaning about your goals. You have to understand, why do I want to become consistent? What is my purpose? You have to find a deeper purpose, because when you have an emotional connection to your why, it becomes so much more meaningful and it makes it more likely for you to actually be consistent. For example, let's say an overweight person wants to lose weight, and you could say, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to look good. Like everyone says that, right? But if you actually find a deeper purpose, for example, I want to lose weight so that I can play with my kids and so that I can run with them freely without having any complications. Or maybe, for example, I want to lose weight because I want to reduce the risks of me getting a heart disease or maybe getting cancer. And just like that, you made your goal so much more meaningful. Because if you just say that you want to lose weight to look good, everyone says that. It's nothing personal. But if you actually connect it to your life and to people that you love, even yourself, it makes the goal so much more worthy to achieve and actually worthy to be consistent for. And you will work harder. That's how it works. If you just say that you want to do something and you don't have a why and you don't have an emotional connection to the goal, you will just forget about it, because in reality, it doesn't really mean that much to you, because your goal is so basic. Your goal is something that like half of the world has. But if you make your goal personalized and connected to people that you love and connected to something that really means a lot to you, you will be able to actually find a well for this goal that you couldn't find by just saying that you want to do something, because the why is the most basic why ever. So be strict with your why so that the goal means so much more for you and so that you actually can become more consistent. The second thing that you can do is to take full responsibility for what happens. So if you came home from work one day and then you sat scrolling on your phone, instead of doing the things that you have to do in order to achieve your goals, for example, work out, you sat on the bed scrolling on your phone. Take responsibility. Don't blame it on you being tired or you getting distracted by that stupid phone. No. Realize that you did something wrong, accept the mistake, learn from it, and move on. How can you improve where you went wrong if you can't even accept that you did something wrong? If you don't accept your mistakes, you won't be able to learn from them. So just admit to yourself, okay, I was lazy. Next time, I'm going to set up a routine, take my responsibility so that this doesn't happen again. So the next time you come home from work, you will not be sitting in the bed. You will be sitting on the chair and do something else other than being on your phone. For example, eating, maybe journaling. You have to be responsible. Whatever happens, you have to realize that everything is on me. I can control anything. I can change everything. And this is the thing. When people grow up, they often say things like, okay, I'm so scared of growing up because now it's all on me. Now, nobody can tell me what to do. I have to listen to myself. And it's scary because we often don't trust ourselves. But this is the thing. You have to change your mindset and think that, okay, responsibility is not a bad thing. It's a good thing, because now that I'm all grown up, I can finally decide what I want to do with my life and not go by the school rules or maybe by your parents' rules. Now you can decide where you want to live, how you want to live, and what you want to focus on. So instead of seeing responsibility as something scary, rather see it as your possibility to actually do the things that you love to do. See it as freedom. Responsibility is freedom. And remember, responsibility builds consistency because you can actually take responsibility for your mistakes and learn from them and become a better person. And while we're talking about mistakes and things like that, you have to scratch perfectionism. Some people set their expectations so high to timelines that they sometimes can't reach. And this makes them feel like a loser because they see it as a failure even though they actually progressed and actually made a massive change and a massive growth in their personality. Just because you didn't reach your goal, it doesn't mean that you didn't succeed, and it doesn't mean that you didn't grow. Because you still became a better person. You still grew in comparison to what you were before you even tried to accomplish this goal. You grew, just not at the level or the pace that you expected. And there's a quote that I read that I want you to remember, and it's imperfect action is still action. Get used to imperfection. You're not supposed to be perfect the first time. Love the process, love seeing yourself grow. If we just went from 0 to 100, it would be so boring because you would never even notice that you were growing. But the process is the good part because you can actually see, okay, I'm getting fitter, or I'm getting smarter, or I'm getting funnier, or I'm getting kinder, whatever. You see the potential that you have, and that makes you want to work even harder. And that's why we call it a process. It's a process to getting better. You're not supposed to wake up one day and be perfect. So love being imperfect because that's a beautiful part. Also, when you learn that being imperfect is totally fine, it will lead to you becoming more consistent. And this is the reason why. Some people give up because they feel like, okay, I didn't reach my goal in time, so I'm just going to quit because I can't do this. This is perfectionism, which leads to self-sabotage because you don't even try. If you start understanding that not everything's black and white, you will actually be able to be consistent through every single mood and through every single goal that you have. And another thing that you can do to be more consistent is to share your experience with a family member or maybe a friend. So let's say you're going to start working out. This is something I did when I first started working out. I brought my sister. So we shared the experience of starting to work out together and getting better at just being at the gym. And this was so much easier because I had someone that pushed me and I pushed her, and we went together and we faced our fears together, and it was so much more easier. But when you do it all alone, it's a little bit more scary. And this is the thing, this is not a must because you must be able to do everything that you want by yourself. But this is just like an extra push if you want to make consistency easier for you. Because it becomes less scary when you do the scary things with a loved one that will also get through this scary thing with you. So you will share like the fear together, but you'll face it also together. And it can also be quite motivational to see that someone wants this as much as you do. But the most dangerous part about this is that some people get so dependent on the other person that if the other person lacks consistency, you will also lack consistency, and you cannot let this affect you. So if the other person stops going to the gym or maybe just isn't consistent, you have to keep going. You can't base your life choices on another person. They can accompany you, but don't let them control you. So go even though they are having a rest day. You should not depend your life on other people. You should not depend on the company of yours. And the last thing that you can do to become more consistent is to spend your time wisely. Do not let our generation's biggest time waster, which is our phone, be the reason as to why you fail. Your phone will always be there. Your phone will always be somewhere near you, but time is running. Time won't be there. And even though, and it's not only the time is running, when you get older, everything's so much more difficult. So while you still have the time and while you're still young, don't waste it on your phone, on social media. Go out, do the things you want to do, achieve your goals. And I'm not going to sit here and be unrealistic, like go without your phone for a whole year or whatever. I know you're going to be on your phone, but you have to limit your use. So put a timer on maybe 15 minutes so that you can use your phone for 15 minutes, but then after those minutes, you have to stop and actually go do something with your life. Use your time wisely, but also use your timer wisely. So put your timer to maybe 10 minutes, do the things you want to do, and then you have to focus on your goals. Do not spend your time poorly. And it's gonna be hard at the beginning to spend your time on things that you don't enjoy doing, but that you know is gonna do you good in the future, but you have to do it. Think about it. It's gonna be hard now, but it's gonna be so much easier for you in the future, especially if you're in your 20s or maybe teenage years. Now, when you're all alone, you don't have kids or you don't have a partner or whatever, put as much time as you can possible on yourself and your goals so that later when you have kids, everything will be done or most of the work will be done, and you will be able to actually have it a little bit easier when you have to take care of multiple people. So spend your time wisely. Now that you're alone and young, do as much as you possibly can to invest in your future. So keep being consistent. I will make a part 2 about this. I feel like there's so much to say about consistency. I upload videos every week. So if you want to see part 2, subscribe and I will see you in the next video.